dead. An idiot admires complexity, a genius admires simplicity.
I've finally done it. My game now has a proper loading screen, complete with this animation of God knows what. It's a massive improvement from before where the game would just freeze and it wouldn't even work half the time. Not to mention this unclickable back button. The new loading screen takes advantage of multi-threading, where the computer can do multiple things at once. In this case, loading the level into memory, and simultaneously rendering the new loading screen. I can't show what the final boss looks like, wouldn't want to spoil it, you know. In-game, the boss is animated procedurally with a system of raycast and parent-child dynamics where the limbs are linked together. The game uses pre-rendered cutscenes, which means I had to somehow translate my handwritten movement into Blender. Normally you would make a rig using a series of bones, but that would be nightmare status because the feet wouldn't keep in place as the creature moves around. So I put my thinking cap on and built this rig that probably violates a code somewhere. But hey, it works. Now the last limb tracks to this empty object, so the foot stays in place and the rest of the leg works just fine. Hey, I'm not an expert, but that's the Spannule way. In my game, the sword has a parry ability, and this one simple ability can do some absolutely crazy stuff. If you equip a bow in your second hand, you can do the parry right when you shoot an arrow to bring it to hyper speed, which does crazy damage. But it gets even crazier. The bow has a special ability where it shoots a super fast sniper shot. You can guess where this is going. Parrying this is possibly the most powerful shot in the game. Another thing you can do is parry a grappling hook to double its range and travel twice the distance. The sword is a simple but incredibly versatile weapon, which is perfect because my game is all about interactivity and emergent mechanics. So why does my game look like this? Well, it's all in the lighting. At first I was using only real-time lights, which means that the lighting was being calculated for every frame rendered. However, this gets really slow really fast. I had to find an alternative. Introducing baked lighting, which allows you to calculate all the lighting only once and draw it all on a massive texture. This method is much faster, but it also looks better because it can simulate the scattering and bouncing of the light. Once I bake all the lighting, I open the texture in Photoshop and edit it directly for even more stylization. Also, I like to use colored lights a lot. It makes the world feel more vibrant and unique. and that's the simple and reliable technique that I use. The fire in my game is hiding a lot of secrets. I'm making a game with tons of secret tricks you can learn and exploit. The fire seems straightforward, it spreads between enemies and deals damage over time, but there's a lot to be discovered. You can shoot arrows through to light them on fire, but you can also shoot magic spells through to give them a fire element. The repulse bomb will explode into flame, the hypnosis fairies will spread fire around like dry grass, and a flaming turret will shoot flaming lasers. If you create a fire with the Inferno Spear, you can use the magic hand to pick up the spear and spread the fire around. And that's only a few of the things you can do in my game Deity Under Ice. This is how I'm building a randomly generated dungeon for my game. The generator will be based off something similar I built in Minecraft a few years ago. We start with a randomly generated maze, then fill in the tiles with rooms for a dungeon. In Godot, I wrote an algorithm that simulates a spider walking around, and wherever it steps is where a path will be generated. Every step the spider has a random chance to turn or teleport somewhere. These probabilities can be customized for different shaped dungeons. We have a working maze generator, but how can we turn this spaghetti into a proper dungeon? When the maze generated, all the paths are aligned to tiles, so all I need to do is look at the pathways that connect each tile to know which kind of room should be generated there. For example, this part of the maze has a path in the north and the east, so I need to generate an L-shaped room here. There are about 7 different types of rooms, including a few special types. These types will be randomly mixed with different variations for a unique dungeon every playthrough. My dungeon sucks because it's not really a dungeon. Time to fill it in with some actual dungeony rooms. The way we make these needs to be super precise. If the doors are even slightly misaligned, it could ruin your entire run. The rooms don't need to be strictly one shape. There's a lot of space for creativity here, like this L-shaped room that has this extra hallway. Same with the textures, they will be randomly chosen for a unique looking dungeon every run. Also, I added a staircase to delve into the deeper sublevels. The dungeon will get deeper and harder the further you go. I'm experimenting with this classic shader effect, but with a twist. Color posterization is a super common post-processing effect used in tons of games to make them more retro-like. People who aren't me do this by taking the RGB values for each pixel and rounding them. Doing this reduces the total amount of colors that are being rendered, creating distinct borders between colors. What's special about my effect is instead of looking at RGB, I do a bunch of math to convert the color into hue saturation value. This gives much greater control over what exactly the final render will look like. For example, I could only render 4 color hues but then all of the shades of that hue. Or I could do more hues but limit the saturation and values. Or I could do none of that at all and keep the original graphics. Let me know what you think. When players found this spell, the first thing they did was explode themselves. The repulse bomb shoots a mini explosive that stuns everything in range. It's good for large groups of enemies and strong monsters. But of course, the first thing players thought to do was to rocket jump with it. Although it's possible to do, players were disappointed that it wasn't always easy. So I fixed it, and I gave it an upgrade where it actually heals you if you explode yourself.